Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Attorney. I'm your host, Alex Alexander with Client Focused Media. Today I'm really excited to bring Elizabeth Stephenson from New Direction Family Law. With change comes empowerment. You can find her on the web at newdirectionfamilylaw.com. Welcome, Elizabeth. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
We really appreciate you being here. So obviously I have been to your website, the newdirectionfamilylaw.com, and I really like two things. I like the name of the company. Obviously, anytime anything that has to do with family law, whether divorce or something really good, like maybe expanding your family, New Direction, it's exactly what it is. And I like that a lot. And of course, the tagline, with change comes empowerment. That's pretty powerful in itself. Good stuff. So talk to us a little bit about New Direction Family Law.
Sure. My favorite topic that I love to talk about. I started this company about 5 years ago after my husband died. And I'd been in family law for about 15 years, and I'd closed my practice to take care of him. And I realized that family law, going through a divorce, custody changes, is like a death. That you have to go through those steps of grieving. But most importantly, you can't stay where you are. You can't go backwards. You can't stay where you are. So you've got to move forward. And so that's what we focus on with our clients, is getting them in a position where they're in a better place so that they can take care of themselves and their children and their family and move on with their lives. So we look at it as a positive change for folks, and we think that reflects in our clients and the way we take care of them.
Excellent. So we talked a little bit before we came on camera, right? And everybody's had, to one degree or another, even when we're in Florida here, you're in North Carolina, and the pandemic has affected every state slightly differently, right? And everybody's doing things that are slightly different. I think everybody's doing something like you and I are doing right now, which is the virtual conferencing and that kind of thing, right? So tell me a little bit about how is family law going to be trending or changing as we emerge from this difference, this pandemic?
If we ever do emerge. What we're seeing through the pandemic is we've actually seen an uptick in our cases. I think, people have had to be together in the same house where they haven't maybe had to be before. And so they're finding that maybe this isn't working for us. So we're seeing a lot of folks who are coming to us to either help them sort of work through and navigate how to separate or how to help them with their custody issues. I don't know about Florida, but our courts were shut down for a while last summer. So I tell clients now, if I have to get you a court date, it may be 6 months, 8 months, or a year before I can get you in front of a judge. So what we see is a clear pattern of more folks going through mediation or through arbitration and not going through the litigation route, which is always helpful and positive for parents if they can make decisions on their own and not leave it up to a judge.
I think you're exactly right when it comes to mediation, right? Especially when there's children involved. Because honestly, and I think I'm 50 years old. I was obviously raised in the 70s and 80s, and our parents were divorced. I mean, that's kind of the typical thing. And when they divorced, guess who's drug into court? Right. So, and these memories are with you. I'm not scarred by them, but the memories are with you for the rest of your life. You understand. So, first and foremost, I respect you for what you do, because to be able to see this kind of thing on pretty much a daily basis, right, and come out still being positive, I love that. So thank you. But I do appreciate the fact that you're talking more about, not necessarily, you don't have to litigate everything, right? Let's get together. Right. I kind of look at it like this, personally. Myself and my spouse, we saw things enough together to want to be together. You think you should find the common ground to make it go away, right? So, in mediation, am I correct or incorrect? I know you're a lawyer and you're licensed in North Carolina, and maybe more. But in mediation, you could actually service people outside of your jurisdiction. Is that correct?
As a mediator, yes, because you're not a judge. You're not offering legal advice. You're just helping two folks who cannot come together find a middle ground. What we say in mediation about mediation is if both parties leave equally unhappy, we have done our job. because everybody has to give up something, but it's really hard when you're in the middle of a divorce and people think of it as winning or losing, and it's not. What
Right.
you're trying to find a middle ground so that you guys can move on, but a lot of people dig their heels in, and sometimes you just have to litigate. But if you can try, we always try to mediate or settle before we hit the courtroom. Sure.
Well, that makes sense. So obviously, you're right. When the pandemic, people were all of a sudden they were locked together. Especially in states where there were real true lockdowns.
Right.
They found out real quick that it wasn't all just butterflies and roses. The real life kicks in, right?
Right.
So
That's right. Exactly.
That's a crazy thing. So you also I'm assuming that you do agreements where or helping people adopt and that kind of thing.
We do help folks to go through adoption. We do some termination of parental rights. So we're in the juvenile system a little bit, but most of our practice is focused on the divorce issues, like the divorce, the property, the custody, the spousal support, and that sort of thing.
Excellent. I want to thank you very much for being on the show today. Thank you so much for what you do. And I want to thank everyone out there for tuning into this episode of Ask the Attorney. I want you to, especially if you are in the state of North Carolina, I want you to look up Elizabeth Stephenson from the New Direction Family Law. And you find her on the web at newdirectionfamilylaw.com. You can also find her here at iwannabuzz.com. Do something good for yourself and do something good for others.